Rain throughout the afternoon here till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Tonight, a low of 26.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
There we go, Brewers. There we go. William Contreras, bases loaded, 3-run double. Woo! Brewers up 4-1 on the White Sox. First run coming out of Joey Ortiz, RBI single. That was my guy, remember? If we remember it. Joey Ortiz, that was the guy I thought was going to be better this year. Tim Allen was riding that train with me. Bye-bye, Shane Smith. See ya. Bye-bye. See you around. Enjoy. All right. Boy, this is good. Get the starter off for the White Sox in the second inning already, Charlie. This is a good start. This is not Brewers Yankees of 2025. This is not that.
No, it is not. You got to be excited about this, especially when you're hearing Paul Skeens is getting taken out of the game early over there in 2/3 of an inning. I mean, it's nice to see that your starter, after giving up that leadoff home run, just locked in afterwards.
I'm going to tell you,
getting theirs off the mound.
Let me predict a storyline for you. Let me see if I can get this right, okay? Let me see if I'm going to be right on this. You mark my words. There's going to be a storyline after today or tomorrow. Maybe it comes out on Monday. How the World Baseball Classic guys are doing in the regular season. It's going to be a story. Mark my words.
All because of Paul Skeens.
He won't be the only one. I'm just telling you. Those guys that were playing the World Baseball Classic, how they translate now to the regular season. And if the numbers aren't good, I don't know what the numbers are going to be. We got 2 full days of games here. But if the number, if you say it's Monday, through the first 3 games of their first series, if the guys that are in the WBC are struggling in the regular season to start off, it's going to be a storyline. Somebody will write about it or somebody will talk about it.
Well, and Bryce Terang started off with a double, so I think that he
played well with WBC.
He did,
right?
But that's still WBC. Paul Skeens played well in the WBC
that's
too.
True.
So this is something I think. What makes it even weirder is that Paul Skeens was the guy that was talking about like how much this meant to him. Out of all the USA players, he was the one who was talking about the most and like that invested. So maybe there might be a difference between him and, let's say, a Bryce Harper who was talking about how much it didn't really mean to him as much. If he comes out ready to go, was he rested because he didn't give as much mental kind of stake into it as Paul Skeens did?
I don't know. That's going to be the issue that's going to be talked about here, I think, from Major League Baseball standpoint. And obviously, we started talking about the Brewers and Jackson Chourio and the hairline fracture that came out this morning. And I was at Kelly's Bleachers on Bluemont right there by American Family Field from 11 to 1 today, hanging out, talking to fans, had a couple jerseys we were throwing out to the fans and stuff like that, and had a lot of fun. And everybody else is out Potawatomi, a sports book at the Annex doing their shows. Everybody but Charlie. He's the one that got stuck in
me and Mason
studio.
were talking about that, how everybody else gets to go have fun but us when it's
Mason
me, because Mason gets to have fun whatever he
have
wants.
flown in from Nashville if he wanted to. You, on the other hand, were truly stuck. Yeah, you were truly stuck. There was no way around this for you. You were stuck. Brewers up 4-1 through 2 after Joey Ortiz RBI single and William Contreras 3-run RBI double. And I just saw the replay of the Ortiz thing. The outfielder should have caught that ball.
That was bad.
I mean, he got a hit for it, but it should have probably been caught.
Well, I think it was the second baseman, Mydroff.
Or second baseman going back on it. Right. Yeah, you're right. So 4-1 Brewers. But anyways, back to the Chourio thing. And everybody's like, whoa, how could Jackson Chourio have not known this sooner. And why wouldn't you have just taken care of this and rested him a couple of weeks ago? You've been ready for the regular season. I was at Kelly's, so I don't know what 9 to Noon said. I don't know what the leadoff show said with Tim and Tommy, and I don't know what Mason and Charlie said all that much. But this is what I'm going to say. It's no different than Giannis and Greece. It's the simplest way to explain it to you, okay? From the aspect of he's playing. He's going to play. And that was not going to stop him from playing. And I think he would have played into the regular season with it, except he experienced some sharp pain, I think, on a check swing is what they said. And that red flagged it for him again. He's like, okay, well, I better get this checked again. So then they checked it, and then there's the hairline fracture, and he's out 2 to 4 weeks. I'm not going to be mad at Jackson Chourio for this. I'm just not. He's going to play for Venezuela again. You mark that down. Probably 2 or 3 more times. And he's going to give it his all to go play there. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, I don't want him playing it. He got hurt last time. People aren't going to forget this. When this comes around again, 3-4 years, people are going to be bringing this up like, no, don't let him go. You cannot not let him go. It's just not going to be a thing, folks. I'm just telling you right now, he's going to play. And I'm happy it's only 2 to 4 weeks. Great. You can take your time. You got Babe Ruth Bowers up there who struck out his first at bat. That apparently is going to be the guy, according to Tommy Wirtz and others. So let's see him go be the guy now. And again, he's batting 5th today. So expectations for the first time placed on Jake Bauer's shoulders. And we'll see how he handles that. And if he can do what he did in the preseason, in the regular season, we'll wait and see. But I'm not mad about the Jackson Chourio thing. It sucks. It's a gut punch, obviously, to start the season. But looking at the bright side of things, could have been worse. Could have been a different injury that could have kept him out even longer. Like, I'll take 2 to 4 weeks versus season ending or miss first 3 months. Like, I'll take this any day of the week. You have more than enough to overcome this, Charlie.
You do. And like I talked about yesterday, that's one of the biggest strengths of this Milwaukee Brewers team is that you have a group of guys who are all chomping at the bits to come up and give it their opportunity too. Blake Perkins gets sent down before the season starts and is immediately brought back up, and he took it very humbly. He talked about how that was kind of a moment that he felt down on himself, but now he's ready to come up and show that he can still be a part of this roster. You have Brandon Lockridge, who had a really good spring too, and you can put him into that position. You have a lot of guys that are willing to take over and can take over, who are able to, and I think that's what's so exciting, is that Jackson Chourio can take this time to rehab a little bit. When he comes back, look better than he did in the spring, while also giving some of these other guys shots to make a name for themselves.
Charlie, if you get a chance, Mark Antanasio talked today. Did you guys play that on the leadoff show?
We did not. They were saving it for the post-game show.
Well, good. Well, I'm going to play before that. I'm not going to wait that long. So there is a clip inside of Mark Antanasio today talking about the $20 million hit that they're taking by not being on FanDuel and by going through MLB TV. And that was the number we've said on this show that it was going to cost him. So there's nothing too shocking about him saying the number. But you cannot, and again, I did not physically hear him say this. I'm going off of quotes that I'm seeing online. You cannot say, oh, that was a surprise, and then a breath later go, but we were prepared for it. That can't be. You can't, that's impossible. That doesn't make any sense. Then you can't call it a surprise, Mark. If your next statement was, we were prepared for it, then you knew it was coming, which means it wasn't a surprise. I mean, I don't have, a master's degree, but I think I understand what a surprise is and what a surprise isn't. If I walk into the room and everybody jumps on and goes, surprise, I'm going to jump. My heart's going to, skip a beat a little bit. I'm like, oof, I didn't see that one coming. That's going to be what I'm going to say. I'm not going to be like, I knew it was going to happen because Charlie told me. Well, that's not a surprise. Well, but if Charlie told me and I walk into the room, I'm not going to be surprised. Charlie told me it was coming.
But maybe, let's say your Disney vacation, you're planning on it for that 1 week, and then all of a sudden your mom goes, hey, Sparky, we're going to actually move this up 3 weeks.
She does not call me Sparky, I promise you.
Okay. Well, Steven, we're going to move it up 3 weeks. That would surprise you, even though you were prepared for that trip and ready to go. That would surprise you if something happens earlier than what you were prepared for, wouldn't it?
No, because I'm not prepared to go in freaking August. That's going to screw everything up if I have to go in August. I'm prepared to go the week in September. So what you're saying is they knew it was going to end.
Yes, eventually. And that maybe it was just a moment of when it was going to happen that they didn't know.
Good for you, because you're the only person in the last 3 hours that had that response of spinning it for Mark Attanasio to get himself out of that. Because I'm sorry, like anytime you tell me you're surprised by something, I'm not expecting the follow-up to be, but we were prepared for the surprise.
Again, if you were ready to like kind of know your options, or like we talked about with this Brewers team before, there weren't too many other options besides MLB TV after this moment. So yeah, again, you can be surprised by the timing of it, but because you have really nowhere else to go, you knew what to do. You knew where to go.
So there he is, Charlie Houston over there. Steve Sparky Fiver here. We are not talking about the Brewers during the Brewers game. I'll give you updates as things happen. I will react on the air as things happen and so forth. But as I said yesterday, we're going to talk about other stuff during the game. It makes sense to counter program against the Brewers, right? John Steppe, the Badgers beat writer for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I know he was just on, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. He's on again today because he's been at Badger spring practice, football practice for the last 3 days. Lots of positivity coming out of those spring training practices. So we want to pick John Steppe's brain on that. He'll join us coming up at 2:20. Then at 3 o'clock, our guy John Cooper from Our Lads Draft Service, who we've had on the last couple of years, covering the NFL draft like nobody else. Our Lads is just a great website, ourlads.com. Check it out. It's amazing. They do great work over there. So we'll talk with John Cooper coming up at 3 o'clock and get his thoughts on the draft coming up. There's all this debate, thanks to Dan Orlovsky, by the way, of ESPN, about Mendoza versus Ty Simpson and who should be the first quarterback taken in the first round. And this thing is just growing like wildfire. From a Packer fan perspective, we do not care. We don't care. But I am intrigued because I'm a draftnik. I love doing mock drafts and all that. Kind of pick his brain on what he thinks of those two quarterbacks. But I also want to pick his brain on some defensive tackles that might be there in the area of the second round. Pick his brain maybe on some corners that might make sense for the Green Bay Packers. Pete Doherty keeps talking about offensive linemen. Like, I don't, like, what offensive line are we talking about here? Are we talking about getting a guard to replace Brooks after one, or Aaron Banks after 1 year? Is that what we're talking about potentially doing at the guard position? Are you potentially looking for another tackle and then you're sliding Zach Tom inside at some point? That's the thing that I'm curious to see is where on the offensive line are they going to go? Jacob Mizorowski is just nasty right now. He just struck out another one. What's he at now? Six or seven?
I believe it's 6.
Goodness gracious. I mean, he gave up a home run to start off the game. But outside of that, this dude is just filthy.
Just need to get it out of his system. That's
just
what they say,
filthy.
right?
So, yeah. So, John Cooper of Our Lads Draft Service will join us coming up at 3 o'clock. And then at 4 o'clock, whether the game is over or not, the franchise Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz will be on with the Potawatomi Sportsbook baseball postgame show coming up from 4 until 6. And it'll be on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. All postgame shows that air with Tim and Tommy will be on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network throughout the entire baseball season, just like the leadoff shows that Tommy Wirtz will mainly do solo throughout the season. You won't hear Tim too much with him on those leadoff shows. So again, as far as Brewers coverage goes, man, we got this covered. The other thing I kind of wanted to get into today, it is what is going on with the NBA and this whole MVP discussion. We didn't get into this yesterday about Wemby pleading his case of why he should be an MVP and so forth. We didn't get into that. We didn't get into the Joker last 2 games. We haven't talked about that yet either. And I'd like to dive into that maybe coming up at the 2:45 segment a little bit and just have that discussion. We don't really need a ton of calls or text messages today. If you want to jump in, you can feel free to jump in. But just kind of want to touch on stuff that normally we probably wouldn't touch on, and cover all these other areas. The Bucks are not going to be one of them. So
why not?
For what reason?
I don't know.
Because you explain something to me. I seriously, I want.
Okay.
So when I used to do post-game shows back in the day in Milwaukee for 12 years, 13 years, whatever it was, I had a rule. My rule was, if you aren't going to try, then I'm not going to talk about you. So on nights like we've seen here recently, I would talk about something else. I'd come on there and be like, well, they didn't try tonight, so I'm not either. Let's talk about the Packers. And we would do a Packer topic at night, and Bucks fans would call in and we'd talk about the Packers. There was a couple of shows where I'd be like, okay, they didn't decide to show up today. Let's talk fantasy football. And we would take calls on fantasy football for the show or fantasy baseball or whatever. I'm just not. I mean, God bless those of you people that sit here and watch this crap. God bless you. God bless you that you were watching Thanasis in the first quarter and getting excited like he was going to do it for 4 freaking quarters.
He had 1 point. What do you mean?
Just stop. People in the first quarter, Thanasis, hey, may blow this or he may help their chances to win and not lose. Some of y'all just make me laugh. I mean, seriously, some of the comedy I see from some of the nutso thoughts that I see on social media watching these from these Bucks fans, because some of y'all just become delusional now. I mean, it screwed you up so bad mentally that now you are just woohoo, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs at this point with some of your takes on this Bucks team.
Well, you got to be excited about something. I think there are things to potentially be excited about.
Sure. Rollins with like the little sidestep 3 like Lillard.
Somebody on this team knows how to play perimeter defense when Andre Jackson Jr. finally gets minutes. Like that bothers me so much that he takes so long to get him some kind of minutes or just cut him like they were saying they might.
I don't know why he's here. I don't.
Just cut him or give him minutes. Like, what's the point?
They kept him over Cam Thomas. He plays hard. He plays hard. He tries hard.
Mm-hmm.
He's deserved no minutes all season long. They haven't even thought about giving him minutes. Now winning's not a priority, so go play 30 minutes. Now we'll let you go play.
It's just weird. Again, everything about this Bucks team is so weird. Sometimes.
Again, that's why I want to talk about it. I spent 3 minutes on that, and I didn't want to spend that long on it. Coming up next, John Steppe covers the Wisconsin Badgers for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Straight ahead, it is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Contreras, a fair ball. That could score all three. Two are in. Ortiz being sent around third. Contreras clears the bases, and the Brewers lead it.
Wow. Talk about a big hit.
There you go. Highlight courtesy of Brewers TV, local over-the-air TV today. How about that? And the Brewers announced all the different TV channels for all the different areas around the states. And I finally have a channel that I know the game is going to be on. So for those of you that have DirecTV like me, it's been on 669 forever. Now it's going to be on 670. I appreciate them keeping it in the ballpark of where it was and not making a dramatic shift in the numbers.
I think I'd rather have a dramatic shift in numbers. If
No,
it's that
just
close,
easier
it
for me to
throws
remember.
off.
If I accidentally go to 669, because people are going to go to their old channel. So if it's right next to it, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. And you just go up one.
Yeah, but then I'm going to be more mad at myself if I like do that and then I go and look and I have to look at my phone and be like, what channel is it again? I'm like, oh, it's one channel away. I'd rather it's 100 channels away and then I don't feel as bad.
You forget things?
Yeah. Well, again, especially if
okay.
they're like two of the same numbers, like in there, I'll throw you off.
After the last pitch, you make the switch to the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. They broadcast live this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Annex, the Potawatomi Casino Hotel, right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. He is John Steppe, Badgers beat writer for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. John, how are we doing today?
I am great. Basketball done, but got spring football going. So plenty of interesting things happening here.
I want to ask you something that we did not discuss previously or talk about. And this is something I do from time to time. So I apologize now for all the other times I do this to you. I continuously see people on social media complaining that Wisconsin does not have a baseball team. And this has been an ongoing thing of people complaining for 20 years at least. And it continues to happen. And I finally responded to one. I said, hey, look, first of all, Title IX is why you lost baseball. That's the first thing. That's how this all went down. I'm old enough to remember when it went down. That's why you lost it. Secondly, they are so strapped for cash right now for NIL and everything else. McIntosh just went to the government to ask for help and pretty much said, hey, if I don't get it, I'm going to start scrapping Olympic sports now, men and women, and we're going to take that away. I mean, the chances of them getting baseball, aren't they the only team that doesn't have baseball in the Big Ten? I think that's true. I mean, from that perspective, it's so far, far, far away from ever happening now. It's farther away now than it was 10 years ago.
I absolutely agree. You look at it, and there's never been a worse time to be adding sports just because of the financial model changing so much, where all of a sudden you have this new expense item in terms of being able to directly compensate athletes. And, that $20.5 million, along with the infrastructure to have NIL that goes above that, you look at that and that takes away from money that could have maybe been in consideration for that. So, just the economics really don't work. You're mentioning, the Wisconsin lobbying, the state for, $14.6 million every year. So this is, right now, I think the focus is to keep the offerings that you have rather than expand. And that's been the case all across the board. You look at it and you just don't see a lot of places adding varsity sports. There are a couple exceptions, in the direct vicinity. Iowa needed to add one, but that was part of Title IX settlement. So you look at it and it's just not a opportune time for adding sports. It also is not exactly the greatest climate, I say, after a really windy day at Camp Randall today, where, you look at when the college baseball season is, and, that doesn't necessarily work to your advantage. I know a lot of the Midwestern coaches would much prefer to have that season bumped back a few weeks. Obviously,
for sure,
SEC coaches like where it is right now. So, there's some other challenges, but yeah, in a perfect world, I'd love to be watching some Wisconsin baseball too.
Let's talk about some Badgers football. Spring practices underway here the last several days. And one of the things that we're all going to realize, you already realize, you're at the practices, but Badger fans that maybe have not paid attention, this roster is pretty much redone over. I mean, the running back room, you got Dupree. That's it. Everybody else that that played running back on the Badgers, they're gone. Now, having said that, they may actually have some pretty good talent in that running back room based on what I've read the first couple of days.
Yeah, Abu Sama transfer from Iowa State is really talented. I think really high potential for him. Went to Southeast Polk High School in Iowa, which is a little bit of a football powerhouse. Xavier Wampa, the Iowa safety, that played right away. He went there. Caden Proctor, the Alabama offensive lineman, went there. So he kind of went to a football factory in high school. Has shown that potential at Iowa State, and that's a really talented running back to add with Dupree. But the amount that I've been looking at the roster that they've given us these last two practices, because it is just such a different group. The transfer portal gave them an opportunity to really remake this roster, and they did that. And now this is kind of the start of putting these pieces together and seeing if they can cohesively fit into a unit.
I mean, you got more guys in that room. Brian Jackson from USC, Nate Palmer from TCU as well. Jackson's more of a power back, I think, and Palmer maybe more of a speed back between those two. But when you look at both those guys added on, I mean, that's 3 transfers. This is not, they've got 3 freshman recruits straight out of high school with Dupree. Let's see if they can hold up to it. These are all guys that have played.
Yeah, and that really is the position that you want to have a lot of depth in, because you look at it, and Wisconsin had obviously a lot of shortcomings in 2025, but one of the few areas where they had depth was running back. And, whether that be with injuries, whether that be just with other challenges that they went up against, having that depth really paid off there. So, if there's one position where you really want to have this depth, it's at running back, especially with the way that Wisconsin wants to play. Now, there are other questions. The offensive line is probably one of the biggest questions, I personally think. And, that kind of obviously has a very big influence on how high of a ceiling this running back room can have. But certainly in terms of the transfer talent they brought at that position, there's a lot of potential there.
Jay Steppe, 1 on X. He is John Steppe. He covers the Wisconsin Badgers for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Let's talk about the quarterback room. That's what everybody's going to want to talk about, because this is the room where if I was Colton Joseph, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near a Badger football team. If it's me, because I like being healthy, I don't want to be hurt. And so far, that's what's happened to every single transfer portal quarterback that has started at the beginning of the season for the Wisconsin Badgers under Luke Fickell. They eventually get hurt and they're done. This here is a guy from Old Dominion that has all the talent in the world. The question now becomes, how does this offense change? Because it appears that there are some other athletic quarterbacks in that room as well.
Yeah, they've got quarterbacks who can move, and that really goes down the depth chart. When you look at him, when you talk about Deuce Adams, when you talk about Carter Smith, obviously somebody that they saw toward the end last year. Also Ryan Hopkins, the freshman, the true freshman. He's somebody that I wouldn't be necessarily shocked if he potentially moves up above Carter Smith in the depth chart at some point.
Really? So,
possibility here. I don't want to make any, I don't want to write anything in stone here. We're 4 practices out, 15 in spring ball, but Hopkins has shown that potential. So you look at it, it's an athletic quarterback room. I would say, through the 2 practices that I haven't been in Portland for, I've seen some areas of encouragement and some areas of concern so far. So I wouldn't necessarily.
What about Deuce Adams? I saw some highlights of him on social media. What was it? Yesterday, I think.
Yeah, he's got some mobility. Kind of fitting this theme of, these athletic quarterbacks. There were a couple of plays I was really impressed with, and then there were probably a couple other plays that he'd like to have back. So that's kind of been the theme, not to sound a little bit like a broken record, but that's kind of been the theme here early on in spring ball. And the key thing to keep in mind is, it's the 4th practice out of 15 in spring ball. Then, there's fall camp. So, a lot can, should, and probably will change between now and week 1 in Lambeau.
You mentioned the offensive line earlier as far as what that's going to look like. The left tackle, PJ Wilkins, is a massive human being, and there was a big celebration amongst Badger fans online when they landed him from Ole Miss. Obviously, the naysayer in me is like, why the hell would you leave Ole Miss to come to Wisconsin for? Like, what is going on here? I mean, maybe it could be a financial or a money thing, but you would think you'd want to stay at Ole Miss. Having said that, how has he looked so far in what you've seen?
I would say overall with the offensive line, I'd probably give the edge right now to the defensive line. Now, whether that's,
more transfers, by the way, there. Yes.
Yeah. You look at whether that's a shortcoming from him and others, or if that's just the defensive front being really good. Probably the answer to that will depend on whether you're a half glass full or half glass empty person. Because
empty guy right here. Empty guy. Charlie over there. Full guy. I'm empty guy. So that's our show. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And, I think every person who is in that empty category has plenty of good reason to be in that empty category after these last 2 seasons. So you look at it, and if you were to ask me what my number one area of concern would be right now, it would probably be the offensive line. But I also say that in the 4th practice of the spring with a new offensive line coach, several new offensive linemen, you really haven't had that much continuity there. So I would be probably a little more surprised if they were really rolling on all cylinders, because this is a group that really is still a work in progress. Jeff Grimes talked on, I think it's Tuesday, about how he's seen improvement on the offensive line. They're going to need a lot more improvement between now and September is kind of my takeaway here from these practices, and particularly that very high position of need there.
John Stebby, Badgers beat writer, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, here on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. What about edge rusher, pass rushers, getting the quarterback? You said they've been winning the battle against the offensive line, which is great, I guess. But you've had Rieger, you've had Peterson, you've had others before these guys like TJ Watt and so forth. There's always seems to be those guys that end up in the National Football League that are edge rushers at Wisconsin. Who are the new faces for Badger fans to get to know?
2 players kind of at that position that I was impressed with, particularly today, was Fearbry and Cheeks, 2 guys that have been around. So it isn't necessarily like I'm saying anything that's going to be shocking the airwaves here. But both players made some really nice plays. I was impressed with both of them. So that gives a little bit of end of March optimism here.
There you go. See, right back to half glass full guy. There you go, John Steppe. We'll call him Mr. Full when we bring him on the show. When we talk about this coaching staff and what it looks like right now, obviously Grimes didn't get what he wanted out of the offense last year. I think Tressel from time to time kind of got something out of the defense. I think Tressel is the better coach. But as far as what Grimes wants to do, does this offense look different than it did last year now that he gets to kind of even more handpick his talent through the portal and everything else? And if it does look different, in what aspect will it look different?
I think the biggest thing right now, and it kind of goes back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier, is he has quarterbacks that can do a lot of things. And you look at it and, with all due respect to Hunter Simmons, seems like a wonderfully nice person. What you were able to do offensively gets limited. When that's your quarterback situation is a Southern Illinois transfer.
A Saluki.
Yes. No disrespect to the Salukis here, but they were limited in terms of what they could do. And here, you have, knock on wood right now, a healthy quarterback room. And, just naturally what you can do with this offense, there's a lot more possibility there, a lot more potential there. And, going back to what we were saying too earlier about, the mobility at that quarterback position, I think that really opens up a lot. Now, whether they get what they need out of the offensive line will be another question. But, the fact that they have healthy quarterbacks that have shown a lot of potential in a lot of ways is at least a step in the right direction. I don't think that's necessarily book your tickets to the ReliaQuest Bowl, level of optimism. But if you're looking for something to, be excited about after a tough March Madness loss, I would say, okay, at least you have healthy athletic quarterbacks.
Glass half full guy. Which group is the most talented on this team?
Oh, that's a good question. I think running back, kind of as we were saying earlier, is, I feel like, kind of the quote unquote obvious answer. I would say an area that could be potentially most improved might be the secondary. I've liked some of the things I've seen there. Now we'll see when they're going up against opposing quarterbacks. But I've liked some of the things I've seen. Carson Van Dinter has been somebody, safety originally from Kakana, played at Iowa State, transferred from the Cyclones to the Badgers. He's somebody that's impressed me. There's been a couple other cornerbacks that have impressed me. So I'd say that has maybe the potential to be a position of improvement. That secondary was not necessarily a strength last year. So any improvement, I think, would go a long ways there.
I like it. He is John Steppe, a Badger beat writer for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Make sure to follow him on X at JSteppe1. I appreciate you so much, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk throughout the year.
Thanks. Always a pleasure.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, John Steppe, joining us here on the Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. For those of you not watching the Brewers game because you're listening to us and you aren't by a TV, David Hamilton got on base on a goofy play where the ball hit second, bounced off, and he's like one of the fastest guys in baseball. So he got on first base. Okay, fine. Then Garrett Mitchell came up. Now, Joey Ortiz is batting behind Garrett Mitchell. Now, I understand he had the RBI in the first inning or in the second inning, but my God, dude, Garrett Mitchell drops down a bunt and Hamilton gets the second. Obviously, Mitchell gets thrown at first. They show the video. Hey, Joey Ortiz, there you go, baby. Ha ha, man, Joey Ortiz feeling himself right now. See, I ain't Murphy. I didn't say quantum leap for Joey Ortiz, but I told you, here he comes. It's only game one. I know you go 0 for 25 after that at bat, but we'll see. 5-1 Brewers. Joey Ortiz, the solid base hit to right on it, drawn in infield against them. But anyways, go back to Mitchell. He drops down that bunt. He comes back to the dugout, and there were clearly words had between Murphy and him that left Murphy, when Mitchell gave him his response, Mitchell was behind him. Murphy was just shaking his head in disgust and disappointment, like, you got to be kidding me. That's the reasoning. So I don't feel like he called for the bunt. To me, at least, it doesn't feel like he called for the bunt.
Could there be a miscommunication between Murphy and third base? Could third base have called the bunt potentially? Maybe. And then that's the difference?
Yeah. Either way, Murphy was not happy with whatever that was all about at the end of the day. Was definitely not happy. Joey Ortiz, what is going on here? What happened? I'm so confused. So Terang must have hit the ball somewhere. I missed it.
Things are happening.
So Ortiz is at second, and now they intentionally walked Contreras. Not a good sign to intentionally walk Contreras to get to Yelich. I mean, that's damn right disrespectful if I'm Christian Yelich at this point.
I would not feel good about
Contreras
that.
cleared the bases with a 3 RBI double in this last at bat. I get it. I'm just saying, if I'm Yelich, hit almost 30 home runs last year at 29, that's kind of disrespectful to Christian Yelich at this point from the White Sox to want to face him. Again, it's lefty on lefty now. So Newcomb against Yelich, and we'll see how this one.
They liked,
yeah, we'll see how this plays out.
The Brewers only had 3 righties in their lineup today. It's just crazy. Yep. Their whole team's just left-handed.
Don't forget, after the last pitch, you'll make the switch. The Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. They broadcast live this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Coming up, we're going to talk about these Wemby comments about him lobbying like a politician of why he should be MVP. And then we'll talk about what the Joker has done the last couple of games and have that conversation. Obviously, Giannis is not in the MVP conversation. I get that. But times are changing and how NBA MVPs are determined and so forth. So we'll get into that a little bit. Then John Cooper talking Packers draft, where our live draft service comes up at 3 o'clock. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you, and Christian Yelich made him pay for that deal by hitting an RBI single to first, and then William Contreras made a dumb base running decision and got thrown out at third base to end it. But Joey Ortiz scored by that point 6-1 Brewers after 4. How about it? I mean, Contreras obviously thought the ball was coming home. clearly he thought there was going to be a play.
Yeah,
but clearly that was
again,
the
I
wrong
don't know. Is that a
decision.
miscommunication at third base with the coaching staff there?
I don't know. You've got a lot of questions about third base. They changed third base coaches again today. I'm telling you right now, it's the worst job in professional sports. Third base coach is the worst job in professional sports.
I believe it. I believe
it. Just is. That position, I guarantee you, in 25 to 27 cities is probably the most criticized position in Major League Baseball.
Well, but it's also an extremely important position that I think matters a lot, especially when you're a team that uses the base path as much as the Brewers.
I understand. I just don't think nobody's going to be perfect. Like, everybody's going to make mistakes. It just is. How many times, mark my words, this year, when Tim Allen does his postgame show, if you listen, mark down how many times you hear the third base coach get love on that show for 162 games.
All right.
I bet you it's less than 3.
Well, I know Tommy's very critical of the base coaches.
Right.
So, yeah.
But he's not going to go on there and be like, oh, great call there. No. It's going to be like, what an idiot. Yeah. Why are you sending him? He was so mad at Jason Lane.
Uh-huh.
All right, back after this. Is it bad that I was rooting for them to let a ball drop foul to get Mizorowski a chance at strikeout number 12 on the day? Contreras caught it, though.
Out there.
Contreras caught it, though. Charlie's over here trying to root that Mizorowski blows out his arm in the first game of the year.
No, that's not what I said. I'm saying he's cooking. He's under 100 pitches.
He's cooking.
Send him back out there. Why not?
He's at like 99 or 98 or 99 pitches.
Especially if they go out here, score another run. Come on.
No. 11 strikeouts for Mizorowski through 5. Brewers up 6-1. He gave up a run, a home run to lead off the game, and one other hit. That's it, folks. 11 strikeouts. Remember both predictions. Ito Sars of The Athletic said Cy Young. That's what he said. Cy Young, bold prediction.
CBS guy, don't even know who it was, said he was going to have more relief appearances than starting appearances.
No, maybe.
I don't think so.
Something has gone horribly wrong with everything involved. Like, everything has gone wrong in the bullpen. Everything has gone wrong with him. Like,
it's got to be like Alec Manoah type fall off.
Yeah.
Is what needs to happen.
Yeah. Somebody tweeted that dude and tell him, like, hey, man, you still feeling good about that whole reliever thing all throughout the year? But you could not have asked for a better start. Like, I don't know the record or the numbers, because obviously we don't have the sound on the TV here, but I don't know what the record is for most strikeouts on an opening day by a Brewers pitcher or best performance on an opening day by a Brewers pitcher. But damn, I mean, the Miz is doing his thing out there. We've talked about this. When the lights are the brightest, that dude just goes, man. He just goes. And there is no questioning that he knows how to bring it up, amp it up when he's got to. The question that I have is, when we get to May and all the lights aren't on, him specifically, is he going to be the same dude? When we're in June and we're in the summer, is he going to be the same dude? Or is the wildness all going to come back and we're going to have problems again? Because that's what happened last year. It was dominant coming up from AAA because everybody was talking about him. Then that comeback or whatever, which, by the way, he pitched another couple innings. Then they say, oh, no, you're done. And I still think to this day, I have no proof, but I still think that had something to do with saving his innings so he'd be ready for the postseason. He comes off of that, and he's a mess. He looks like he did in AAA. Then we get to the postseason. They put him on the postseason roster, and I was like, well, we're going to find out if he's just a bright lights guy, and he is a bright lights guy. This here today, this proves it again. Dude's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ram Northside, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talking Text Line with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Ram?
Hey, what's going on, Sparky? Hey, you got to, every time you hear Charlie doing that Mike hating, that Brewer hating, do exactly what you're doing, Sparky. Reel him back in.
Yep.
We know he's a Chicago guy. I love Charlie. I do.
It's just
because I wouldn't get on to everyone because of him. He would say, nobody call.
Well, this is the thing. I mean,
but I like Mizorowski. He a stud, man.
Listen, this is different. I told Charlie this. I go, if he comes back out here in the 5th, this could be a defining moment in the season. Maybe they're going to let these starters actually pitch deeper into games. Because if this was last year at 82 pitches, there's no chance this dude's coming out for the 5th inning. There's no chance. So the fact that he lets him pitch in his very first start almost to 100 pitches, maybe there will be a philosophical switch with how long they're going to let these starters pitch this year.
But the pitching staff and Murphy love him, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, it's like a father-son thing. I watch their interaction, even when I listen to the radio. And then the other thing, Sparky, too, this generation of athletes, they always want to prove to you that they can do something. And sometimes they can turn it on and turn it off when they get ready. That's just how they are. It's not like, oh, I fell down a little bit, then he came back in the postseason. I think as the new coach, and we have to respect some of the stuff that they do and then work it into our system and say, well, I need you to do this today, do this today. You tell them what you want them to do. I think they're fine. But I think he's good. I think he's good. I mean, look, they picked him for opening day, and look what he's doing.
I don't disagree with you. I think he's really good, Ram. Thanks for the call. No, don't argue with me about that. You know who else is really good? Habish, and Rotier. Plead the 5th, baby. Plead the 5th. It's your opportunity to tell somebody to hush it on up. Oh, Jake Bauer's got a base hit. There you go. Off this night after your first 2 strikeouts. That's good. Tommy Wirtz can show his face on the post-game show now after between 4 and 6 down there at Potawatomi. Anyways, Habish, Rotier. They're winners too. They're winners too, man. Founded in 1930. Nearly 100 years. 13 locations across the state. Habish is one of those Wisconsin names. Again, if you think about it, your whole life, right? Beer brand, been here your whole life. You know all about them. There's just certain businesses that you know. And Habish and Rotier certainly is one of those businesses. National reputation, hometown service. National reputation happens why? Because they win, and they win big, and they've got state records and all of that. But as I say every day, hometown service, that's the keyest part of all of this. Treating you, I've been saying bedside manner, right? I'm going to, let's scrap that. Put that aside. I'm going to try something else. Treating you like you're a family member. Treating you like you're somebody that related to them. Treating you like they're going to go through a wall for you to help you get what you deserve. Because you were the one that was hurt in the car accident. You were the one that went through all the trauma of going through all of that. You were the one that is scared, potentially out of your mind, not knowing what to do next, needing guidance, needing leadership, need somebody to calm you down and kind of show you the big picture of how potentially this all could play out. And then you needing to show faith in them and let them do what they do best, which is win. They're going to do everything they can to get you what you rightfully deserve. Habish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. Learn more at habish.com. How cool is that? Wisconsin Sports Daily up next. John Cooper of Our Lads Draft.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It is hour number 2, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brewers are cruising. Jacob Mizorowski, 11 strikeouts through 5. Brewers are up 8-1 here, top of 6. After the last pitch, we'll make the switch. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen, the franchise, and Tommy Wirtz. They'll be broadcasting live this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So if you're looking for somewhere to go hang out after work, why not, man? Annex right next to the Sportsbook. Has some great grub over there as well. That Sportsbook kitchen is amazing. Joining us now to talk about one of my favorite things in life, the NFL Draft. He is our guy, John Cooper from Our Lads Draft Service. John, thanks for coming on, my friend. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. Doing good.
Okay, so first things first. Obviously, I want to talk Packers. They don't have a first-round pick and all of that. But before we dive into that, even though this doesn't really matter to Packer fans, I'm a draft dork. I have been my whole life. So to me, I just want to pick your brain. All of this stuff going on with Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, talking about Ty Simpson versus Mendoza, him saying he likes Simpson better than he likes Mendoza, which has been met with shock and awe because Mendoza won the national championship with Indiana and is the darling of everybody. I know you've grinded and watched a ton of this stuff. So you tell me, of those two, which do you prefer?
I'm going to take Mendoza. I think Simpson's going to be a really, really good quarterback. But the jury is still out, realistically. I mean, he's still got some work to do. He's got some things. He's inconsistent. He's got some development to do. I've talked to some of the people that have worked with him, and they love him. He's a football junkie, son of a coach. What's not to like? But he hasn't done it yet in college football. He has not been the elite quarterback. He's been a good quarterback, and at times he's flashed outstanding play. But there's a thought that he would have been better off staying in a year and really developing into that really good quarterback. But I think he saw that it wasn't a great year for quarterbacks, and he had a chance to get drafted in the first round, so he took it. But Mendoza, to me, he's got intangibles to go along with great skill.
Did the offense of Mendoza that he was playing in for Kurt Signetti, did that help him at all as far as his chances in the NFL, where if he was playing in a different system, maybe he may not have looked as good potentially?
Well, I don't think it matters that much. You have to evaluate, his mechanics. You have to evaluate his athleticism, how he does, off platform. And he was fine that way. He may not be the greatest athlete, of the quarterbacks that have come out in recent years. Would he be a top 5 pick? If in the class that saw Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels? Probably not. But in this class, he's the best quarterback in our minds. And somebody that needs a quarterback should take him in the first round. And we think the Raiders are going to do it.
Yeah, they definitely need a quarterback. There's no argument from anybody on that one. John Cooper, Our Lads Draft Service, a wonderful site, wonderful draft guides. I've been talking with the guys from Our Lads for 20 years. Check them out again today, ourlads.com. All right, so a little bit about the Green Bay Packers here. Now, this question was brought up to Brian Gutekunst last year about relative athletic score, which is a big thing on social media nowadays. Everybody looking at this relative athletic score. And for the most part, when you talk about Green Bay Packer drafts, that person has to be somewhere around 9 or higher potentially for the Packers to probably draft him. He said he wasn't familiar with it. We don't believe him. But he said, the athletic ability and all of that is a big thing, John. From your standpoint, how much do those numbers play into when you evaluate a player as far as whether or not you would take him? So, for instance, Devondre Sweat, gigantic human being, defensive lineman, had a horrible relative athletic score. It was not good at all. And obviously, the Packers didn't take him, and he turned out to be okay so far, I would say. So how do you look at it?
Well, I think those scores are a little bit better at predicting failure than they are success.
Oh, okay.
Just in terms of looking at different ones, we've got our own, which is maybe a little antiquated, or what our OSR, as we call it. And, it's just basically going to look at the athletic ability. It's going to look at the wingspan, the hand size, the arm length, all of those things, come into play, as far as that goes. And there are guys that defy the odds in terms of their athletic ability. And, it's something that's looked at over time. It's not something that's just a one-time thing like you see at the combine. But the bottom line is, there are guys that are great football players that do not fit the mold. They do not fit the analytics. They're few and far between, but there are a number of those guys. There's guys that 5'8", 5'0", 5'5" quarterbacks that are great players, safeties, and a lot of times those guys do not get drafted or in the high or sometimes even not drafted and end up signing as free agents and becoming very, very good football players. You're seeing more and more of that. That said, the score is worth looking at as part of the picture.
I have another one for you because you're old school. I have talked in previous years, the last 20 years, to different personnel directors and so forth that simply are heels dug in on certain positions at certain schools, and simply I'm not touching them because it's a wide receiver at UCLA or because it's this at another a school and so forth. Do you find yourself battling that as you're looking at different guys in the draft because of the history of success or failure at a certain school with a certain position?
No, I look at the individual player, period. Coaching staffs change. UCLA wide receivers, well, there's different coaches, different receiver coaches, and schools are always trying to get better. And with the portal, the players are changing so often.
Oh, yeah.
You may have a guy playing at Texas Tech on the defensive line 1 year, and 2 years prior to that, he was playing at Louisville. So It's a different ball game. So you can't pigeonhole players based on school at all anymore.
Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. I don't get too crazy deep here because a lot of people aren't going to know half these guys that we're going to talk about. But a couple of the guys out there, one of the guys that is going to be out there is Grayson Halton, the defensive tackle from Oklahoma. Your thoughts on him potentially at the end of round 2? Again, coming from a big school, Power 4 school in Oklahoma.
We look at Halton is a solid player. He plays the run very well. He's a little bit undersized, compared to some of these other guys, but he's got some pass rush potential. He does a lot of things well. He's going to be one of those guys. This is not a good year for defensive tackles, by the way.
That's not what I wanted to hear, John. That's not what I wanted to hear.
You
could have lied to me. You could have lied, John. You could have lied. It's all right, though. It's fine.
So, he's not going to be – he's one of those guys that, he's got a really good upper body. He does not have, a great lower body strength that we like to see. But he's a really good gap player. They lined him up in a zero, and he slanted the A gap, and he could wreck blocking schemes. So he's going to play if you used in the right way, he's going to be a really good player. He's got a really nice club move to escape a block and get into a gap. He's got a good motor, and you're going to love that. I mean, if he ends up as a Packer playing in their defensive line, you're going to love his motor. He's going to be very good playing the run. But if you move him, if you put him in a zero and have him play against a center or double teams, he's not going to be really good at that. He gets a little upright, but he's got good tools, and he's a guy that I think can play. And I think if you don't have a defensive tackle and you're looking for somebody in the second day, late second day, early third day, he's the type of guy that would be a good fit.
John, if I came to you and said, hey, man, look, this is the deal. Deal is I want a big wide body that's really good at stopping the run in this draft. It doesn't matter to me really all that much if it's second, third, fourth round, whatever it is. I don't need him to be a great pass rusher. I just need a wide body, take up a couple of guys, let my linebackers run around and grab a dude if he's running past him, right? That I think to me right now is where the Packers mindset has to be, because you've got some undersized guys already on this roster. They went and got Hargrave, which was good, an older player, and they brought him in. And then you have Devontae Wyatt next to him. But, I mean, a couple of years ago, they had Slayton, who was a bigger, wider body, and then he left in free agency to go to the Cincinnati Bengals, so they lost him, and they never really replaced him to this point until they signed Hargrave. I think that is probably the direction, if I'm the Packers, that I'm looking to go. Do you have some bigger, wider body guys that can do that?
Plenty. That's the one thing there is. I mean, there's no Nadame Matabikes. There's no Jones from Kansas City. There's no player like that in this draft. Potentially a guy like Banks or Woods maybe could become that, but they haven't shown that. There are some run stuffers, though. Dominique Orange, in my mind, is the best one. 6'2", 322 out of Iowa State. He might be there in the second round when the Packers pick.
All right. See, now some positivity from John. There we go. I like it.
But he might not be too. If it's me, I'm taking him higher. He's gone when the Packers pick. I really like it.
Just stop and say he might be there, John.
Caden McDonald is another one. He's a run stuffer. He's probably going to go in the first round, late first round, early second. Christian Miller, Georgia, is another one that's a really good run player with long arms. He's got a powerful punch. Really good player. Lee Hunter from Texas Tech is a sometime.
I like him.
He's a sometime to me. He flashes, but boy, sometimes the first thing out of his stance is he stands straight up practically. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he bothers me a little bit from that. But he's the type of guy that's a second round pick. And if somebody can really work with him and get him to keep that pad level low consistently, he certainly has the potential to be a dominant interior space eater, if you want to call him that. Daryl Jackson from Florida State's another one, 6'5", 315 pounds, long, really, really a good run player. Again, he was inconsistent, as was Hunter. And there were times I thought he was the best defensive tackle in the draft, and now I'm thinking he's more of a third round pick. And I could see a team like the Packers picking him up in the third round if they wait that long. A guy that's a sleeper, David Blade Jr. from Miami. Transfer last year, was a good pass rusher besides playing the run. He transferred to Miami, was a part of a tremendous defensive line, only played on running downs. So he didn't really get the chance to show that pass rush skill, but he's a good run defenders. And he's 303 pounds. He's not as big as some of these other guys. Not as big as Dante Corleone from Cincinnati, the Godfather. And that's another, run stuffer type. So you've got some run stuffers to choose from in the second, third round.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's what I want. See, we ended this thing with a lot of positivity from John Cooper. See, we just had to coach him up a little bit. We got him. Sometimer. I'm a sometimer on this show. That's what this is all about here. I know all about being a sometimer, John. Ourlads.com. What will people find at ourlads.com? John, where are people going to find it? They go to ourlads.com.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. You're good.
Go to the website. Okay, ourlads.com. On the far left-hand corner on the top, you'll see a little sign that says Buy Draft Guide. Click on that, and you'll go to a form that you can fill out online, and you can sign up, use your credit card, and you're all set. And they are at the press right now, and will be in the mail by the end of next week.
I love it. Ourlads.com. They do very, very good work over there. Like I said, 20 years doing this on the radio, and we have Our Lads guys on every year. John, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You betcha. Take care. There he is. John Cooper, ourlads.com. It's the Wisconsin Sports Daily Show, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And, well. The Milwaukee Brewers just continue to score runs, don't they? That's just what they do. 9-1. Andrew Vaughn, is that who I saw the latest with an RBI base hit?
Right up the middle into center field.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Frelick had a 2-run homer earlier as well. Jake Bowers has a hit in this game, so that's good. He got on the board. 9-1. Far cry from Brewers Yankees last year to start the season in New York.
This feels a little better, doesn't it?
This feels more like what you should be watching now.
You're not gonna worry about White Sox torpedo bats or anything like that, Sparky.
Not yet. We're not there just yet, there, Charlie. Not there just yet. Hey, don't forget, after the last pitch, you'll make the switch. The Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz as they broadcast live this afternoon from 4 to 6 at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Should be fun to listen to both of those guys coming up. Take a quick time out, come back. Charlie Sounds of the Day. We moved it up today because we're done at 4 o'clock. Regardless of where this game is, we're going to be done coming up here at 4 o'clock. That's brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. So we have that at 3:20, Charlie Sounds of the Day. And then things that Sparky missed on the show, that comes up here at around 3:40 or so. Back after this.
He hit a dozen a season ago. That's number 1.
Sal Frelick with some pop, some power. Brewers are not that highlight courtesy of MLB TV, Brewers TV, whatever we're calling it nowadays. 9-1, Brewers with the lead, bottom of 6 right now on the Chicago White Sox, putting a thumping. If you're just tuning in, 10-1, they just walked David Hamilton to score a run. The Brewers got 5 innings from Jacob Mizorowski, gave up a leadoff home run to the White Sox, gave up 1 other hit in 5 innings of work, and struck out 11. He struck out 11 guys on the day, did Jacob Mizorowski. Just a heck of a performance by the Milwaukee Brewers today. Just really, really good performance by the Brewers. Have to be very, very happy. Now you get an off day tomorrow to soak in the joys of being 1-0 and feeling good about yourself. And then 2 more against the White Sox Saturday, Sunday. Then the Rays come calling to American Family Field on Monday. You know what I'm still anxious for? I want to hear what people think of this Euchre documentary sneak preview they're going to get, because after this game is done, those that are at the game can stay in their seats and watch 20 minutes of this preview of this Euchre documentary that apparently is going to be coming to theaters this summer, Charlie.
I'm really excited to see it too whenever it comes out. I'm going to be there the first week that it comes out in theaters. I think it's a really cool opportunity to get a sneak peek into something, a life that I think a lot of people know of, but don't know that much about.
Correct.
And I think this is something where Brewers fans, it'll be awesome. Unless for some reason they slander his name, which I doubt is going to happen at all in this. It's going to be praising the man that he was and what he's done for the city of Milwaukee. It's going to be amazing. And this sneak preview is going to be amazing too.
Tomorrow morning at 7:30 on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, Steve Farr, co-director and co-producer of Uke, and Michael Volman, co-director of Uke, both will be joining Inside Wisconsin Sports tomorrow morning, 7:30 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So we'll get to see the preview today, and then tomorrow we'll get to hear from both of these gentlemen with Josh and Trevor. That is going to be a fun conversation tomorrow for sure. Plus, I believe the franchise Tim Allen, I think, is on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock as well. And don't forget, Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz, coming up from 4 to 6 today. They're going to start this postgame show while the game is going on, it looks like. But again, Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show, Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz, taking your calls. We'll hear from the skipper after the game, get some reaction from the clubhouse. Charlie said they want to play some Marquette Ignacio from earlier today. They didn't play it on the leadoff show. They were saving it for the postgame show. So you'll hear from the owner of the Brewers too. So it's going to be a good show. They're all going to be good shows because those guys are a dynamic duo together for certain. Now let's get to the other guy that we all love.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Oh, there he is. You're not a sometimer. Charlie Usen brings it every single day.
I try to, at least.
All in, all the time, and I truly appreciate it. That's what helps make this show go like it does. All right, Charlie Usen, where are we going first?
All right, so I'm going to stick with baseball all day today. I got 3 clips all related to something in baseball. This first one is discussing how cost-cutting is invading pro sports. This is June Lee, who's an independent sports journalist. This time he was working with More Perfect Union to create a 17-minute long deep dive into this topic, how cost-cutting is getting into pro sports and how pro sports teams are probably doing less than they should, especially when so many people are invested in their teams. This is him breaking it down from the Boston Red Sox point of view.
So what does the story of the Red Sox actually tell us about sports today? Sports is becoming a product where the more you love it, the more it costs to keep up. And that's not an accident. It's the result of the forces that transform the Red Sox. Optimization, global expansion, financialization. What private equity has already done to industries like housing, healthcare, and retail is happening again, only now to our favorite teams. It's why the experience of being a sports fan is changing right now. More expensive tickets, more money to watch your favorite teams, more ads, more gambling sponsors, more premium sections in stadiums. It's a system designed to extract as much value as possible from the people who care the most.
I think it's kind of BS that, we're putting off Boston's most historical sports teams for, Liverpool soccer. They always say like, oh, baseball is a business after all. Sometimes you wish it wasn't.
You got Disney World right here that's printing money. I fall for it. I'm going to give them money. I'm an idiot.
And players are starting to notice because while franchise values keep exploding, teams are becoming more cautious about spending on the people who actually play the game.
They'll trade Mookie Betts. They'll trade you. So if I don't want to get traded, I would like some no trade protection.
Which is why many people around baseball believe that the next collective bargaining fight won't just be about salaries, but the entire business of the sport.
So that was very well done. I watched all 17 minutes of that thing. I just love that dude in general. We tried to get him on before and timing didn't work out. So we'll try and see if we can get him on at some point in the future. So part of what that was about was private equity came in and bought into a part of the Boston Red Sox. I think at a combined total of $1 billion. They didn't get controlling interest from John Henry, nothing like that. But as you hear them talk, they don't talk about winning championships. They don't talk about anything else. They talk about everything that's going to make them money going forward and seeing that stock rise and doing their thing. That's how they approach it. And in this piece, they talk about the reason why they didn't do Alex Bregman, because they didn't want to be wrapped up in that long control and everything else and having all that wrapped up. So they chose to essentially let him go at the end of the day. John Henry, the owner of this team, hasn't done an interview, presser, or anything for several years now in Boston. It's just gone bye-bye. And you talk about him buying into Liverpool and running that soccer team. The Brewers owner also runs a soccer team at this point. And I'm not going to say that man is running this the same way that John Henry is, because as far as I know, he does not have any new private equity money that has come into this thing since he's owned the team. So it's not exactly the same. But if you talk about expanding the portfolio and balancing everything to continue to raise your wealth and so forth and do what you do, he does fall into this group of a guy that owns multiple sports franchises doing it. Josh Harris is a guy that has several sports franchises, including the Commanders, including the 76ers and others. And that has become a very popular way for a lot of these guys where the same owners are owning everything.
And when they know that you, as a fan of any of those teams, are willing to spend your money on that team, no matter how expensive it gets, it only makes them want to buy more sports teams. It only gets them to this point where they know they can take advantage of you. It's very much like the streaming services where they keep upping their price every month because they're just testing the waters to see how much people are willing to pay before they stop eventually, because people are done willing to pay, and maybe they'll give discounts for a couple of years and stuff like that until they restart the market again.
That's exactly correct. All right, so that was your first piece of sound for Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Where to next?
Next up, we're going to hear from a couple of guys that want to change some things about baseball. First up, we're going to hear from Tim Kirchin. He was on Foul Territory, and he's one of the best baseball insiders in the business. He was discussing how he wants opening day to go back to how it used to be.
If I had my way, all the teams would play on the same first opening day. I thought it was really cool that the baseball season always kicked off with the parade in Cincinnati. Every first pitch that was thrown for years and years and years was thrown in Cincinnati. And look, I understand this is all about money. This is about networks. This is about growing the game. I get it. But I think it's always right that all the teams play the first day. It starts in Cincinnati. Look at the Blue Jays. I'm going to go to the Blue Jays opener Friday night. The season really opens on Wednesday, and the defending American League champion Blue Jays don't play until Friday. That's just kind of odd to me, but there are a lot of odd things. I'm willing to go along with it, but if I had my way, all the teams would play on the same first opening day, and it would all start with a parade in Cincinnati.
Okay. First of all, I'm old. I don't remember no damn parades in Cincinnati. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm pretty sure he's right. I do remember the Reds being the first game every year. I didn't know there was a parade in Cincinnati. I also will say that is my favorite stadium to go to. Of the stadiums I've been to, that stadium, that Reds Hall of Fame is amazing. Not a Reds fan, but that Hall of Fame is sweet. So highly suggest checking out a game in Cincinnati. Very fun. And it's a cool town too. But, I mean, it's just a pipe dream to think they're all going to start on the same day. I mean, they're just going to string this out. Look at football. They're going to play Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, my God, it's unbelievable. So And we were talking about this yesterday. Like, I didn't know they could play on Thursday. It's Friday. That's the day where they're stuck, I believe. So, I mean, to have games Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, potentially, and then do the same thing Thanksgiving week, where you're going to be able to play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And you're mad because Major League Baseball had a game before the rest of the slate started. Trust me, this could be far, far different than it is right now if you had the NFL running roughshod over the schedule making for Major League Baseball. So, yeah, I mean, that's cute, but that's never going to happen. What else you got?
Last up here, we're going to hear from Nationals starting pitcher Miles Mikolas, and he was discussing one change he may want to make to Major League Baseball, one that I think hits close to home for you, Sparky.
If you were commissioner for a day, is there anything you'd look to change about the game?
Maybe tougher penalties on, the PED guys.
There you go.
Maybe something a little more lasting. Maybe the guys that fail PED tests, maybe make them wear like a different color hat or like put a patch on their jersey. Just remind everybody that they were dishonest.
Yeah, sure. I'm fine. There's no way the PA is ever going to agree to that. Mizorowski. Wait, I got to go back. Hold on. I just saw something on opening day. I got to rewind my TV set here. There's no way the Players Association will ever agree to embarrass somebody for PED use. While I'm all about doing that, and I think that's a spectacular idea by Miles Mikolas, there's just no chance they're ever going to do that. I think it's just quite simple. I think it's just put it in print that if you fail a PED test, you're ineligible for the Hall of Fame going forward. And if you fail a PED test, your contract is voided. You want it to stop? Void the rest of the contract. Ryan Braun failed the test, lied about it, and then got caught. Not only are you ineligible for the Hall of Fame, Mr. Braun, the rest of your contract, all that deferred money, we're wiping all of that off of the Brewers payroll. You're free to sign with the Brewers again with a new contract. And if you can work something out, that's fine. You're free to go sign somewhere else, but you are done with that contract is void. Because think about it. If I cheat and I take PEDs and I was like, well, you may not make the Hall of Fame. Yeah, so what? But if I say that $200 million contract's null and void if you get caught, hey, I may not want to take that chance to lose all that money, because if you lose all that money, now you go to sign somewhere else. What owner, after you failed a PED test, is going to go, oh, yeah, cool, dude, I'll give you $200 million. Let's see if you can survive and advance again without getting caught. There's no chance. I mean, you will be devalued immediately.
Yeah, that would devalue. I mean, just right now, though, Jerks and Profar got a massive contract off of a PED season.
Correct.
And I think that's something to look at. So, yeah, you could get rid of all their money and completely get rid of it. But I think that teams would still give those guys contracts. I think what they should do maybe more is make them have a cap for those guys. If you test positive PED, then they can only make $2 million a year. And the team that signs him has to pay his contract in fines per season too, I would say. So if you sign him, not only can you not sign him for a lot, so the player gets punished, but the team that's signing him has to pay $2 million to match his contract.
Mizorowski, youngest player in MLB history since 1901, to have 11 strikeouts while allowing 2 or fewer hits on opening day.
Do they have who the person in 1901 is?
May only have numbers back to 1901 is my guess. But that is crazy.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
that's
Jacob Mizorowski,
crazy stat.
You're a guy that goes out there and performs on big stages, and he went and did it today. It's not the biggest stage he's performed on, but I think that's a good thing. I think that means that he's going out there and in settings where you're going up against the White Sox, even if it is opening day, you can still dominate when we've seen him kind of fall apart against these lower opponents.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's a really good stat. Brewers are up 11-1 right now on the Chicago White Sox, top of 7. Grant Anderson is in. I feel comfortable with Grant Anderson in a 10-run lead. I'll say it. I know I'm stepping out there. I know others may not agree, but I feel pretty confident with that.
I think so.
Who is at first base? Jake Bowers. Oh, my God.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think they probably moved.
Oh, my God. I mean, I thought he made a nice play. Then he bobbled it. Then it became really close at first base with Grant Anderson running over to first base, but it worked out all right. So 11-1 for the Brewers. He had Mizorowski, 2 hits, one of those being a leadoff home run for the White Sox. 11 strikeouts in 5 innings. Just truly amazing stuff. Home run-wise, Frelick, the only one with a home run in this game. But lots of good performances. Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz will have all of that for you coming up. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show after the last pitch. We'll make the switch all season long here to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. They'll be starting here coming up in about 24 minutes or so. They'll take you right up to 6 o'clock tonight here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Let me tell you about my friends over there at Wendy's. Wendy's has the official Dunks of March Madness, which means you get the iconic chocolate Frosty paired with fries. The perfect opportunity to dunk crispy, salty fries into a decadent chocolate Frosty. It gets even better because when you order from the official Dunks menu, you'll automatically be entered for a chance to win a variety of prizes during March Madness. Order from the official Dunks menu today. Download the Wendy's app for the official Dunks menu for a chance to win this March Madness. I'm telling you, that Dunks menu is something else. Coming up next, Things Sparky Missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
He just got a free strike with a pitch timer violation on Carroll, and he struck him out. 10 Ks on opening day for Miz.
Unbelievable. I'm going to stand up for that.
You should.
Yeah, you should, Mark. I'm going to pay him Jack Nada right now. I like courtesy of Brewers TV. Mark Antanasio there, Jeff Levering as well. Jeff Levering earlier today, by the way, on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, predicting 90 wins and a division title for the Milwaukee Brewers earlier today. I don't think that is that crazy. 90, 92, 93, probably somewhere in that area. And then if you lose the division with 92 or 93 wins, you can live with that. You're okay with that. You lose the division with 84 wins, that's not going to be acceptable.
Well, and at this rate, the Brewers look by far the best team in the division. So I think that's realistic.
Settle down. We haven't even completed the first set of games today, and we're already at that
Pirates'
level.
best player, Paul Skeens, gets knocked out of the game in the first inning.
Yeah.
And the Cubs right now are struggling to get any kind of offense going against the Nats. They're down 8-4. Pico Armstrong just had an RBI single, but they're still struggling over there,
Yeah, against the Nationals, who aren't expected to be very good this year necessarily. But they're kind of like the White Sox, aren't they? Where they got some young talent where the Nationals might surprise some people.
Well, and both
They're in a
those
tough
teams,
division, though.
both those teams have really good young offenses with really key young players in those groups that need to take next steps. And I think if those groups can take those next steps, and you're just relying on pitching, you go and make a trade halfway through the season, you could be a surprise team. One of these groups, I think, is definitely going to make people do a double take with them.
Brewers have 11 runs on the day. They only have 2 players with multiple hits.
Yeah, a lot of walks. Garrett Mitchell has walked a couple times now. You've got David Hamilton on base via the walk.
You've got 6 walks between your 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Freely, Hamilton, and Mitchell each have 2 walks apiece in this game.
I mean, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking. You're looking for these guys, especially those 3 guys, to get on base. Just do that. And Joey Ortiz has done more than that today, and Hamilton and Mitchell have gotten on base.
Yeah, Joey Ortiz, 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs on the day for Joey Ortiz. Again, Ortiz just hits 260, somewhere in that area, 15 home runs, 15, 20 stolen bases. That's more than anybody could have expected coming into this season, and that would be great. If he does anything even on top of that, oh my goodness gracious. I mean then it changes everything.
Just as long as he plays good defense. Again, I keep saying it can't be solid defense. It can't be middle of the road defense. It's got to be good.
Yeah.
You got to be above average.
Agreed. We were talking about Mizorowski. They don't have to pay Mizorowski. If you were Mark, who would you try to pay first, him or Made?
I think when you look at pitchers nowadays, especially the amount of guys that are sitting out opening day right now that probably should be opening day starters, it just doesn't financially make sense to pay those pitchers.
We got a stat guy on the Nicolay Law Talking text line. I appreciate you very much. Patrick and Hubertus, several text messages floating in here. 8 strikeouts was the previous record on opening day for the Brewers. Happened twice. Peralta and Ben Sheets. Then another text. This is the Brewers' 7th time in history scoring 10 or more runs. Then another one. The record for most runs on opening day is 13 in 2008. Patrick and Hubertus, thank you, my friend, for helping us out here on Wisconsin Sports Daily.
Hooking us up. Those are all just crazy stats and set good precedents for the rest of this season. This is going to be a fun year if they can keep this up, man.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Lockridge now getting his first at bat of the year after he pinch ran for Andrew Vaughn earlier in the game. Yelich just had a base hit. I'm telling you, man, this team is going to be fun. And everybody is sleeping on them yet again, and that is a beautiful thing. Having said all of that, before I forget, who did you say was the last pitcher back in the day? 1901 was the last time a pitcher was as young as Mizorowski or younger.
Doing this. That was Noodles Hahn in 1901 for the Cincinnati Reds on opening day. He was 21 years old on opening day and had 7 strikeouts in that time.
Right. Mizorowski, 11 strikeouts and 2 or fewer hits allowed in the game. Youngest since 1901. Goodness gracious. All right. With that, let's get to this.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, things that we missed on today's show brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. So, first thing that I want to get to involves Curt Cignetti, our guy over there at Indiana, head football coach at Indiana. Curt Cignetti won a national championship, and it has not changed Curt Cignetti whatsoever. So they have a transfer in Nick Marsh. Marsh coming from Michigan State. And obviously they have their spring practice and so forth. And he's a junior. And apparently was wearing gold spikes out there at practice. And Cignetti was not impressed.
I didn't love those gold shoes he came out in today. He learned what getting your ass ripped is all about. I don't know if that happened to him very often in Michigan State. That was before practice started. That was a wake-up call. But no, he's really worked hard. Done a great job for us.
It's going to be interesting to see how these transfers handle Cignetti when they get there, because he's definitely different than what a lot of all of these other coaches are and how they treat their players, how they are in the media, and so forth. And now you're going to get guys coming from other schools that are going to be maybe taken aback by Cignetti and so forth. But the one thing that helps him, just like that helps Saban and how he treated players, was he's got a ring already. He's got a national championship. So you may not like how he yells and screams at you. He may not like how he handles his business in the media. You may be discouraged by how hard he gets on you from time to time. But at the end of the day, he's got a ring as a head coach, not as an assistant at Alabama or nothing like that. As a head coach of Indiana, and recently too, that is why you have that ring on. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I think you're behind. I think you don't have it live right now.
Oh, I probably am behind. Yes, I am, because I had it paused trying to find that Miz stat.
That's what I was cheering about before. You didn't even say anything.
I looked up,
you were just bored. I was like, all right, he doesn't care.
So Charlie's over here. He's like giggling and laughing or whatever. I was like, what is going on? It was a ground ball to third that I saw. White Sox guy steps on third, doesn't get Lockridge at first. I was like, I don't get it. What's so funny? Maybe he saw somebody in the stands that he knew. I have no idea. So I just kept doing the show. Now I finally, apparently, have to the point where you're at. Babe Ruth, Jake Bauers just hit a home run, and that home run gets him to 14, which now I believe is a new franchise record, because it was 13 in 2008, Patrick Huberta said. So Jake Bauers, now Tommy's going to be just unbearable.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
2 strikeouts. I was like, dude, see, that's why you should shut up about this,
jinx.
dude. That's how, yeah, it's okay with
That's
me.
a reverse jinx this time.
I'm fine with it. I didn't text him about Jake Bauers or nothing.
No, you just mentioned the 2 strikeouts. Since then, a single and a home run.
Right. Fine. It's all good. I'm just saying, I did not text Tommy and talk trash at Tommy about the Bauers strikeouts. I said nothing. You and I, nobody's even listening to us. They're all watching the Brewers game. 14-1 White Sox are getting their butts handed to them by the Milwaukee Brewers. Again, new franchise record. This game is in the bottom of the 7th. And Tim and Tommy are coming up here in about 8 or 9 minutes, and they will entertain you through the rest of the Brewers game. This has got to be probably about as happy as Tim Allen has ever been on an opening day, I would assume. This is his 21st year of doing opening days. This has got to be near the top.
The Brewers got 14 runs. Tommy's guys doing well.
Mizorowski
pitched well. And Tim's at Potawatomi. That's the cherry on top.
Casino. Probably sitting there playing Keno while they're watching the Brewers game over there, or playing some video poker while they're watching the Brewers game.
Probably hang out there for the rest of the night now.
Hell yes. Why not hang out there for the rest of the night? And the Cubs are losing? Like, that's something else that Tim Allen will be very, very happy about. Let's see where that game is at. 8-4 Nationals going to the bottom of the 8th. Boyd for the Cubs, 3 2/3, 6 runs, all earned, a home run, 7 strikeouts. And then who was it? Is that Ben Brown that came in after him?
Yep.
Ben Brown then gave up a home run. He gave up 2 more runs in 2 1/3. Woo.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you're Paul Skeens and do pitch in the World Baseball Classic, you can get rocked. If you're Matt Boyd and don't pitch in the World Baseball Classic, you can get rocked.
It's all true. Matt Boyd was supposed to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, and then he bailed.
Because they told him he was going to be opening day starter.
Right. Oh, I got to be ready for opening day. Whoopsie.
Looks like somebody just popped into the StreamYard real quick to tell you something, I'm assuming.
I'm not putting him on the air. He's got his own show at 4
He's
o'clock.
yelling about
No, I don't care. I'm not. I do not care. I'm not pointing you on the
I think he's saying Tim's ticket is hitting that Tim
okay,
wanted,
so should I put him on the
Yeah,
air
you can
then?
put him on.
We've only got like a minute. All right, Tommy Wirtz and Tim Allen down there at Potawatomi Casino.
Tommy
Hotel.
Wirtz hit a couple of tickets.
Just hit a
that's all.
10 plus 1050 parlay. The last leg of it was Jake Bauers homering at any point in the game. $20 to win 230 thanks to a Sal Frelick hit, a David Hamilton hit, and a Jake Bauers homer. It's coming up on the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show.
You should go thank Austin Herdenia for that advice. I'm assuming he's the one that told you to bet
his
it, right?
parlay hit two. His parlay hit two today.
Dude,
Free bets on the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show.
Austin Herdenia is so good, man. Y'all don't understand how good that guy is. You just don't. Well, congratulations, Tommy Wirtz. Enjoy it. Don't spend it all before you come back after the postgame show. Those two gentlemen are coming up next. It's going to be a fun one. Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz, broadcasting live up until 6 o'clock at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Enjoy the rest of your night. Brewers are going to get a big win. Toodles.